Plan to freeze government spending is on hold.
Nothing that is being done, nothing is actually making life better for the American people.
Elon Musk has been a big part of the first 100 days across the 100 days, as you probably noticed. And now we have a special report on one of the most unprecedented parts of all this. The world's richest man reportedly now moving beyond daily government work. That's the plan. I'll explain that in a moment. But he did join the cabinet meeting today in a little bit of a different posture. If you think that body language matters, and in Hollywood and Washington it certainly often does, back in February he was very big, standing over, almost lording over the meeting, bravado. Today, while definitely a presence, he was seated. It seemed almost coordinated, as the president also made a point of praising Musk while hinting at his departure.
What if the richest man on earth is secretly pulling the strings in Washington? Elon Musk's influence over U.S. government policy has been growing. But now, the question on everyone's mind is, how far is he willing to go? Is the line between his business empire and government decisions blurring to the point of corruption? And is the government doing anything to stop it? Stay tuned to uncover the shocking truth behind Musk's role in shaping America's future. Elon Musk's influence on Washington has been one of the most fascinating, if not controversial, stories of the past few years. While his ventures like Tesla and SpaceX have revolutionized industries, it's his role in the federal government that's raised serious concerns. The most notable development in this ongoing saga is his sudden move to exit from government work, leaving behind a trail of questions about ethics, power, and the line between public service and private gain. We're seeing a radical shift in government policy right now, particularly in areas such as federal spending. A plan that aimed to freeze government spending has hit a major roadblock. The proposed reforms haven't materialized in any meaningful way, and many critics are pointing out that they haven't improved life for the average American. And into this political void steps Musk, a man who's never one to shy away from being in the spotlight, and someone who now finds himself at the intersection of government power and corporate control. Over the past 100 days of this administration, Musk has been a constant figure, seemingly involved in nearly every major meeting and policy discussion. Back in February, he attended a cabinet meeting that captured widespread attention for his commanding posture. He was standing tall, almost towering over others, in what many saw as an intentional power move. Fast forward to today, and the dynamic has changed. Musk was seated during the meeting, and there was a subtle shift in tone. It wasn't just the body language. It was the context that had shifted. The president, acknowledging Musk's contributions, praised him in front of the entire cabinet, thanking him for his insights and influence on various projects. In what felt like a subtle acknowledgement of Musk's impending exit, the president added, "You're welcome to stay as long as you want, but we know you want to get back to your cars."
Musk has told Tesla shareholders he'll spend less time on the federal government stuff and more time running the company. His personal fortune has crashed an astounding $114 billion in these 100 days. That is a ton even for someone as rich as Musk, over $1 billion a day lost. And it is related. Musk, of course, broke out his chainsaw, and he got some things done in Washington, trying to use what are basically quick fixes. Instead of the longer hard work of changing staffing plans for a multi-year budget with Congress, he went in and tried to pick off or fire the people that were easiest to do under the current rules. His fortune, of course, is based on many things, but a huge part is the only currently publicly traded company he has, Tesla. You can see the price dropping over a third.
It was a moment that, if you're paying attention to the undercurrents of power in Washington, felt loaded. The applause from the cabinet members was respectful, but it was also clear that Musk's time in government was coming to an end, whether he admitted it or not. However, despite all the pleasantries and public displays of gratitude, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Elon Musk's brief stint as a part-time government advisor was always going to be a complicated matter. And it's important to understand that while Musk has been an influential figure in this administration, he's far from a typical government employee. The key to his role lies in his classification as a special government employee, which allows him to bypass many of the ethics requirements that a full-time government worker would face. For those of you unfamiliar with the technicalities, a special government employee, SGE, is someone who holds a government role for less than 130 days per year. The role is designed to give the government access to specific expertise without requiring the individual to fully disengage from their private sector activities. It's a flexible system, but also one that could easily be abused, as critics are now pointing out. Musk's time as a part-time government employee means that he doesn't have to comply with the same ethics and disclosure rules that full-time employees must follow. This is a huge concern when you consider the vast interests Musk has in his companies, all of which have contracts with the federal government. Recently, Musk made headlines when he told Tesla shareholders that he would be reducing his government-related activities and focusing more on his companies. It's no surprise that his fortune has taken a significant hit. His personal wealth has dropped a staggering $114 billion over the past 100 days. That's over $1 billion lost per day, a staggering loss even for someone as wealthy as Musk. But this financial shift is not just due to the volatility in the stock market. It's also linked to his increasing involvement in politics, and particularly the backlash he's faced for his actions in Washington. Musk's approach to his time in government has been marked by a series of quick fixes and controversial decisions, rather than tackling the long-term, complex issues that require careful planning and bipartisan cooperation. For example, instead of working on multi-year budget plans with Congress, Musk took a more aggressive approach by targeting and cutting people that were easiest to let go under the current rules. Many of these decisions were made with little to no transparency, and it led to a backlash from both the public and certain sectors of government. Musk's role in this administration has drawn sharp criticism from analysts and lawmakers who argue that his decisions have been more about political maneuvering than actual governance.
We have seen, as Elon Musk is on his exit out of the federal government, he has secured billions of dollars in new contracts across the federal government. Conflict of interest? Yes, absolutely.
That's the Democrats using their bully pulpit to flag this. They don't have enough votes to force the floor to take it up in the House, so we're reporting on how democracy works. The Republicans had a real but slim House majority, and the Dems would need to convince some Republicans to join them to get that floor action I mentioned. But this is still a big problem. I've told you, there's sometimes in politics where we just get a denial that, no, it's no problem. Musk and Trump understood it was a problem, so they didn't deny that conflicts were an issue. Instead, remember, they initially made a big show of claiming there would be no business conflicts, no requests for help. It was a vow that they then very publicly broke.
One of the biggest concerns with Musk's dual role as a business magnate and government advisor is the conflicts of interest it creates. While he's been serving in this part-time government role, he's simultaneously overseeing companies that have billions of dollars in contracts with federal agencies. These contracts, many of them with SpaceX, Tesla, and other Musk-owned ventures, are under increasing scrutiny. Critics argue that Musk is using his political influence to secure lucrative deals for his companies while pushing for government cuts that could harm the very workers who are supposed to be keeping the wheels of government turning. Public protests have already erupted in response to Musk's government cuts. Many Americans are deeply uncomfortable with the idea of a man who runs multiple companies having so much influence over federal policies. The idea that a part-time government employee with significant financial interests in private enterprises could hold this much sway over national policy has caused alarm across the political spectrum. And it's not just about the ethical concerns, it's about the power dynamics at play. Despite these growing concerns, Musk has been able to largely avoid the full scrutiny that would apply to a full-time government employee. And here lies the loophole.